Alex stepped onto the alien planet with a cautious curiosity. The air was thick with the scent of strange minerals and metallic ozone, and the sky above shimmered in green and gold, the twin suns casting long shadows across the crystalline landscape. This was a world unlike anything he had ever seen, a place where alien technology and natural beauty merged seamlessly. Every structure, every object seemed alive in some way, responding to the presence of those who moved within it. His mission was clear, though risky. He was here to repair the royal armory, a task no human had been trusted with before. The aliens of Violyra's court were notorious for their distrust of outsiders, especially humans. But the queen herself had personally approved his involvement. That alone made him both proud and tense. Pride because he was trusted, tension because failing in this task could mean not just embarrassment but potentially death. The palace gates loomed ahead, massive pillars of translucent crystal rising high above the ground. Guards, tall and armored in suits that seemed grown rather than built, flanked the entrance. Their heads turned in unison as he approached, golden eyes scanning him with a mix of suspicion and intrigue. Alex nodded politely, keeping his hands visible. He had learned early in his training that humans' gestures often translated as weak or nervous to alien eyes, so he carried himself with quiet confidence. Inside the palace, the halls were even more breathtaking. Light refracted through crystal walls, scattering rainbows across the floors. Organic shapes curled and twisted upward, forming natural arches that blended with technological constructs. The sounds were unusual too. Soft hums of energy, the clicking of mechanisms, and distant voices speaking in a language Alex could not comprehend. Yet despite the alienness of it all, he felt a strange sense of calm. He was led to the armory, a vast chamber filled with weaponry that seemed alive. Swords hummed softly in their racks, shields floated in midair, and armor sets glimmered as if breathing. At the center of the room, the queen stood, her presence commanding even in this place filled with power. Violyra's armor was impressive, but one section of her chest plate was cracked and bent from recent combat. She looked down at Alex, her gaze piercing, sharp as any blade he had seen. "Human," she said, her voice both calm and dangerous. "You have been entrusted with repairing what none of your kind have handled before. Do not disappoint." Alex bowed slightly, acknowledging her words without fear. "I will do my best, Your Majesty," he said, keeping his tone steady. "I will handle it carefully." Violyra's golden eyes narrowed slightly, studying him. She stepped closer, her movements fluid and deliberate. "Careful. That part's sensitive," she whispered. Her voice was lower now, almost vulnerable, and Alex felt a sudden weight of responsibility. He nodded, aware that this was more than a simple repair. The armor was an extension of her power, her protection, her very essence. Mistakes could be catastrophic. He knelt and inspected the chest plate. The fracture was subtle but dangerous, running along a support beam that could compromise the entire suit if stressed. Alex's fingers traced the grooves and edges, careful not to trigger any energy conduits or hidden mechanisms. Every movement was deliberate, every adjustment precise. Hours passed. The quiet of the armory was broken only by the soft clinks of tools and the occasional hum of energy flowing through the armor. Alex worked slowly, methodically, double-checking each connection. He replaced the damaged support with a material stronger than the original, ensuring that it would withstand even the most violent encounters. Violyra remained nearby, observing him closely. She did not speak much, but her presence was commanding, her gaze heavy with judgment. Alex felt the pressure, but also a strange reassurance. She trusted him enough to allow this close, to let a human touch what represented her strength. That trust pushed him to work even more carefully, his determination rising with each passing moment. As he finished the repair, he paused to study his work. Every piece fit perfectly, every conduit aligned. He stepped back and allowed the queen to inspect the armor herself. Violyra's expression was unreadable at first, but then she nodded almost imperceptibly. It was a gesture of approval, small but significant. Alex allowed himself a brief smile, feeling a sense of accomplishment. But their moment of quiet was broken by the sudden ringing of alarms. Red lights flashed across the armory, and a loud voice announced an incoming attack. Alex's heart pounded. This was not part of the plan. Violyra's advisors burst into the room, shouting orders in their alien tongue, their gestures sharp and urgent. The enemy was approaching fast, and the palace's defenses were under immediate threat. Alex felt a surge of adrenaline. He had come here to fix armor, not fight a battle, but there was no time for hesitation. Valira's eyes met his, and he saw a flicker of recognition there. A human had proven his worth, and now he had to prove it in action. He quickly donned the repaired chest plate. As soon as he was inside, the armor seemed to respond to him, moving with his intent almost as if it recognized him as its new pilot. He tested the joints and connections, adjusting to the flow of energy within. Valira watched closely, her posture tense, ready to act at a moment's notice. The first wave of attackers hit. Their ships descended like dark streaks across the sky, energy weapons blazing. Alex felt the vibrations through the armor as he maneuvered to block a strike that could have penetrated the palace walls. Valira moved beside him, her combat style precise and deadly. Together, they were a force to be reckoned with. Alex realized that repairing her armor had given him more than just a tool. It had given him insight into Valira herself. He understood how she moved, where she would strike, and how she relied on her suit for both offense and defense. This understanding allowed him to anticipate her moves, complementing her actions rather than hindering them. The battle raged outside, with explosions rocking the palace. Alex and Valira worked in tandem, their movements synchronized. Alex directed a turret to intercept incoming projectiles, while Valira deflected attacks with the repaired chest plate. Human soldiers and alien warriors alike began to notice the efficiency of their coordination. Whispers spread. The human was not just a repairman, he was a capable fighter, a strategist and an asset. During a brief lull, Valira approached Alex, her eyes, usually so sharp and commanding, softened slightly. "You handle yourself well," she said. "Few humans could match my pace." Alex shook his head with a grin, wiping sweat from his forehead. "I guess fixing your armor helped me keep up," he replied, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. Valira studied him, silent for a moment. Alex felt the weight of her gaze, but it was not threatening. There was respect there and perhaps even trust. He realized that in these hours of crisis he had crossed a threshold. He was no longer just a human visitor. He was part of her team, part of her defense, and perhaps, in some way, part of her world. The attackers regrouped and tried to breach the palace walls again. Alex and Valira readied themselves. The repaired armor held perfectly under pressure, deflecting blows and distributing force in ways Alex had calculated. Each movement of the Queen and the human engineer worked like clockwork, turning the tide of battle bit by bit. Hours passed as they fought side by side. Alex had never experienced such intensity. The adrenaline, the danger, and the trust placed upon him created a focus he had never known. And through it all, he maintained respect for Valira, her skill, her intelligence, and the way she led her people. By the end of the day, the invaders were forced to retreat. Their ships withdrew, leaving a battered but intact palace behind. Cheers erupted from the defenders, and Alex allowed himself a moment to breathe. He had survived, he had contributed, and he had earned the respect of one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Valira looked over her repaired armor once more, her golden eyes thoughtful. "Careful. That part's sensitive," she said again, almost as if the words had taken on a new meaning. Alex smiled softly, understanding that some things were delicate not just physically, but in trust and respect. He had entered her world as a human outsider, but he had shown courage, intelligence, and loyalty, and in doing so, he had begun to prove that humans were more than just fragile creatures. They were capable, adaptive, and worthy of trust, even in the eyes of the galaxy's most powerful beings. As night fell on the alien world, Alex and Valira stood together, looking toward the horizon. The battle was over for now, but the connection they had formed through trust, skill, and mutual respect was only beginning. And for the first time, Alex felt that he truly belonged, not just as a visitor, but as a partner in a galaxy full of challenges yet to come. The sky was painted in shades of red and orange as the twin suns began to set, casting long shadows over the palace grounds. The battle had ended, but the air was still tense with the echoes of conflict. Alex walked alongside Valira, feeling the weight of the repaired armor on his shoulders. It was more than protection. It was a symbol of trust, courage, and the bond that had formed between them during the fight. Valira moved with her usual grace, but there was a subtle shift in her demeanor. She no longer seemed distant and untouchable. Instead, she carried herself with cautious acknowledgement of Alex's presence. They reached the central courtyard, where soldiers and engineers were busy repairing damage from the attack. The palace walls were scratched, some sections cracked, but the defenders had held their ground, thanks in part to Alex's quick thinking and the Queen's formidable skill. "You did well today," Valera said quietly, her golden eyes meeting his. "You adapted faster than I expected." Alex shook his head, brushing dust from his jacket. "I just did what I could. You're the one who makes everyone else look weak in comparison." Valera's lips curved slightly, almost imperceptibly. "Do not underestimate yourself, human. You are capable of more than most of my own warriors." They walked together in silence for a few moments, surveying the courtyard. Alex noticed the soldiers whispering and casting glances in their direction. Some were curious, others cautious, but all seemed to respect the human who had stood beside their queen in battle. He felt a strange pride. He was not just a visitor anymore. He had earned a place among them, and his actions had proven humanity's value. A sudden commotion drew their attention. One of the engineers approached, carrying a small energy device that had been damaged during the fight. "Your Majesty, the stabilizers are failing. We need immediate attention," the engineer said. Valera nodded, then turned to Alex. "Can you assist?" Alex glanced at the device, noting the delicate circuitry and unusual design. "I can try," he said, stepping forward. His hands moved over the device with precision, guided by the skills that had helped him repair her armor. Within minutes, he had stabilized the system, ensuring it would function properly for the rest of the night. Valera watched him, her gaze thoughtful. "Humans, you surprise me," she said softly. "Even when I doubt, you prove worthy." Alex smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I guess we're full of surprises," he said lightly. As night fell completely, the palace lit up with bioluminescent lights, casting a soft glow across the walls and gardens. The aftermath of the battle was still visible, but there was a sense of calm returning. Valera led Alex to the throne room, a vast chamber filled with intricate carvings and floating platforms. She gestured for him to sit, though he hesitated. "You fought beside me," she said. "That is rare for a human. Most would hide behind shields or flee. You stood, adapted, and acted," Alex nodded. "I learned quickly. Watching you, seeing how you moved, how you thought, it helped me respond the right way." Valera's expression softened. "It is not only your skill, but your courage and clarity of mind that matters. Even among my own kind, such qualities are uncommon." The Queen paused, then gestured toward the repaired chest plate. "That piece, you handled it with care. Many would have damaged it further out of ignorance or impatience." Alex glanced at it, still gleaming despite the battle's chaos. "It was delicate. I had to respect it, and I respect what it represents. You." Valera studied him for a long moment, and in her silence, Alex sensed something unspoken. It was not affection, not yet, but a recognition of trust and mutual respect. He had earned her approval, and that was significant in this world. The palace doors opened suddenly, and a young warrior entered, bowing low. "Your Majesty, scouts report no further enemy activity, but some of our outer posts are compromised." Valera nodded, then looked at Alex. "The night is not over. Will you assist me in securing the outer perimeter?" Alex stood, feeling the familiar surge of adrenaline. "I'm ready," he said. Together they moved to the perimeter, accompanied by a small contingent of soldiers. The landscape beyond the palace was dark and quiet, but the threat of ambush remained. Alex's human instincts, honed by years of unpredictable challenges, proved invaluable. He spotted subtle movements in the shadows, detected vibrations that others might miss, and helped coordinate the soldiers' positions. Valera fought beside him, her movements swift and precise. The repaired armor absorbed impacts flawlessly, allowing her to maneuver without hesitation. Alex was amazed at how the suit responded, not just as a tool but almost as a partner. He realized that repairing her armor had given him insight into her fighting style, and now he could anticipate her moves, complementing her actions seamlessly. Hours passed with minor skirmishes and quick interventions. By the time they returned to the palace, the perimeter was secure. Alex's body was tired, but his mind was alert, reflecting on everything that had transpired. He had come to this alien world as a simple engineer, and now he had stood shoulder to shoulder with a queen in defense of her realm. Valera led him to a balcony overlooking the city below. Light sparkled like stars, and the air was cool, carrying the scent of alien flora. She stood beside him silently, watching the horizon. "You are unlike other humans I have encountered," she said finally. "You do not rely solely on strength, nor on cunning alone. You think, observe, adapt." Alex nodded. "We have to if we want to survive, and I guess I just wanted to do my part. Not just fix armor, but help when it mattered." Valera looked at him, her golden eyes meeting his. "And you have. You are human, yet your mind and heart surpass what many of my own kind could offer. That is rare and admirable." The words carried weight. Alex felt a sense of belonging he had never experienced before. On this distant planet, among beings he had once thought untouchable, he had proven that humanity's ingenuity and courage could not be ignored. They stood in silence for a few moments, the night calm around them. Alex thought about the journey that had brought him here, from the first step onto the alien world, to the careful repair of the Queen's armor, to standing in battle beside her. Every moment had tested him, and every moment had shown the value of human determination and skill. Valera finally spoke again. "Tomorrow the Council will discuss the aftermath. They will see what you have done, and they may question your place here. But know this: you have earned respect that few outsiders ever achieve." Alex smiled, feeling a warmth that had little to do with the night air. "I'm glad. I just wanted to do what was right." Valera's gaze softened, and for a fleeting moment her imposing presence felt almost human. "And that is why you will be remembered, Alex. Not just for your actions, but for your character." The night stretched on, and the palace grew quiet. Soldiers returned to their posts, and the hum of energy from the city below filled the air. Alex stood beside the Queen, feeling the weight of responsibility and the satisfaction of accomplishment. He had faced challenges that would have daunted most humans, and he had proven that courage, intelligence, and adaptability were strengths not limited to any single species. As the twin suns set completely, casting the world in silver and violet light, Alex and Valera looked toward the future. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and threats, but they had faced one together, and survived. And in that survival, a bond had formed, one built on trust, respect, and shared courage. Valera turned slightly, her voice soft but commanding. "Careful. That part's sensitive," she said again, the words carrying a new weight now. Alex chuckled quietly, understanding. Some things, like trust, bravery, and the respect between two beings from different worlds, were delicate, and they required careful handling. He looked at her, then at the repaired armor, then back at the horizon. "I understand," he said with certainty. "I'll be careful." And for the first time, Alex realized that he was not just a human engineer on a distant planet. He was a trusted ally, a partner in battle, and a living example of humanity's potential. The Queen may have ruled the stars, but he had proven that humans, too, had a place among the greatest powers of the galaxy. Together they stood, watching the night settle over the palace. The danger was not over, and challenges would continue to come. But Alex felt ready, confident in his skills, his courage, and the bond he had formed with the alien Queen. He had come as a visitor, and now he was a part of her world, proving that humanity, no matter how far from home, could rise to any occasion. The stars above seemed brighter that night, reflecting the possibilities that lay ahead. And somewhere in the quiet hum of the palace, Alex knew that he had earned not only respect but a place where he truly belonged.